Welcome to another episode of the Cup of Joe Sports Show. I am your host, Joe Whitman, and we have got a lot to talk about in this episode. Of course, the NFL Draft is come and gone. Everyone's got their favorite college football players now added to their roster, hoping and praying that those amazing combine statistics that they put so much trust in come true. However, no matter how strong someone is, or how fast they are when they run the 40-yard dash, it still doesn't mean they necessarily will always catch the football or always throw the football to the right team. This is why I hate the combine. But enough of that. Let's get right into it. The draft, the good, the bad, the ugly. Winners and losers of the draft happens every year. Some teams do much better than others. This year was no different. I would like to say the best pick of the draft, and I've got a couple of them. First one would be DK Metcalf to Seattle with the 64th pick. It's pretty late for a dude who is as big and as strong and as fast he is. I mean, you don't find receivers with those talents very often, and Russell Wilson just got a lot happier. He got paid, but now he's got this guy to throw the ball to. Life got a little bit better in Seattle. My other really good pick that probably went later than he should have, Josh Jacobs. Goes to the Raiders with the 24th pick. If you watched any college football this year and saw Alabama and saw this kid run, he is explosive. He's a lot of fun to watch run the football. And I think coming all the way down to the 24th pick, the Raiders kind of got a steal here. I know for whatever reason, NFL teams don't like taking running backs as much as they used to in the past. Partially, I think, is because they think that their careers aren't going to last as long and they can get someone later in the draft, which, both are partially true. But at the same time, when you got a kid that's a game changer like Josh Jacobs, I don't think you draft a center before you draft this kid. Sorry, Minnesota Vikings. Throwing a little shade there. Worst pick of the draft, and again, I have a couple of these. As a Giants fan, as I watched the first pick for the New York Giants at number 6, I was really, really hoping to hear the words Dwayne Haskins. Unfortunately, I heard the words Daniel Jones. Here's the thing. I hope he works out. I hope he turns into a good NFL quarterback. However, it's a bad pick at number 6 because I'm almost guaranteeing you that he would have been picked up with their second pick at number 17. According to all the experts, everyone said that he was perhaps the 4th best quarterback on the board. The Giants said, you know what? We like this kid so much. Let's use our best possible pick on him. It's going to be great. I'll say this. Dave Gettleman's job will ride on the success of Daniel Jones in the next few years. I hope, for both of their sakes, the kid's good. He's tall and he's fast. We'll see how accurate he is. The other pick I thought was bad was the Broncos taking Noah Fant, tight end from Iowa. Yeah. Second tight end also taken from Iowa in the first round, which I don't believe has ever happened before, which is kind of cool. If you want an offensive weapon, I'm taking Marquise Brown out of Oklahoma before I take a tight end from Iowa. Just saying. Marquise Brown, super explosive. Part of the reason why Kyler Murray's stats were as good as they were. I would go with him before I go with the tight end because Marquise Brown's a burner. He is going to get open. He's going to make big plays in the National Football League. Who had the best draft? Not the first draft. First draft was many years ago, and who knows? It wasn't even televised. Who had the best draft? I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens on this. I know this may not be a popular choice among some of the supposed experts, but they added a lot of good weapons. And mentioning Marquise Brown, they got him with their first pick. Followed that up with Miles Boykin from Notre Dame, an explosive wide receiver, a quality wide receiver. And then Justice Hill from Oklahoma State. This kid can run, and he can get through holes, and he can break it. I think Justice Hill is another steal of the draft. The Ravens picked up a lot of offense in this draft. And to boot, they drafted Jalen Ferguson, the defensive end, who had 17 and a half sacks last season. The kid can play some football, all right? I think he could be a stud in the National Football League. We'll see what happens. He's definitely got the potential to get to the quarterback based on his stats alone. He did have some character issues, but to be honest, as we'll get into later in the show, it seems like most professional athletes have some character issues, unfortunately. Who had the worst draft? Well, I'd like to say the Giants because they're my team, and that first pick was atrocious. But actually, they did pick up some decent talent in later rounds. Dexter Lawrence from Clemson, DeAndre Baker from Georgia. They did okay bouncing back from that first pick. I'm going to say Green Bay probably had the worst draft, in my opinion. Rashawn Gary was their first pick. Not the most impressive year at Michigan last year. He really did not do a whole heck of a lot of impressive things. For as big of a guy he is and all the talent in the world, he should be showing up on the field. He really didn't so much. Darnell Savage Jr. was their second pick, an undersized safety. They probably could have waited for him for their third-round pick. He probably would have been there based on the rankings and who was taking players after them. And then last, they failed to draft a quarterback, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers is awesome. He's a really good quarterback, but you have to wonder, A, how long is he going to be with the Packers? There's already been, rumors about how upset he is with the current situation with the Packers. And B, even if he stays there, I mean, at some point, the guy's getting older, and he's going to start losing his effectiveness. There's only one Tom Brady, everybody, all right? There's only one guy who's going to play as long as Tom Brady. His name is Tom Brady. So I'm surprised with the quarterback prospects out there that perhaps Green Bay didn't even think about picking up a quarterback prospect, but, they all have their amazing plans, game plans, shall we say. So, again, that kind of wraps up the NFL draft. We'll see what happens with who and what and where and when and how many of these first-round guys play a big role in teams making the playoffs. Even second-round guys are going to be big parts. Some of these quarterbacks who were drafted, it'll be interesting to see how they pan out. It'll be real fun to watch Daniel Jones and Haskins, how they turn out in the next few years and who is going to rise to the top and who's going to be a dud. That'll be fun to watch. As a Giants fan, that could be painful or it could be very gratifying, but we shall see. Moving on to something a little bit more serious. So, when my daughter was growing up, she's very tall, one of the tallest kids in her class, and I remember people always coming up to me and asking, "Oh, does she play basketball? Does she play volleyball?" I'm like, no, she's just tall. She actually is a really good drummer, and she's into music. And I would always get that response of, "Oh, that's nice. That's great." It almost seemed like almost kind of a fake response from some of these people. Now, some generally probably meant it and are really into music and are not super addicted to this idea that everyone must be a star athlete and play on the most competitive team in town and blah, 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 because my kid's going to get a scholarship. I do think that, it's weird how much emphasis is placed on the importance of sports. In college, obviously, there's a huge divide in the amount of scholarships that are given out to athletes over students, particularly students in the fine arts. For instance, let's just say a Division I football team. They give out 85 full ride scholarships. So let's say they go to a state college where tuition's about $15,000 a year, maybe even 20, times that by 4, you're looking at $80,000, covered, completely paid for because they're on the football team. All right, let's say that football team has a really good marching band. How much money do you think that star trumpet player gets from the university every year? About $1,000, maybe, at the most, per year to a kid that's in the fine arts, playing in the marching band. Does anyone else see a problem with this? Why is it that athletics are valued more than the fine arts? Does it make any sense? Is your kid more valuable because he's really good at throwing touchdown passes, but then someone else's kid who's maybe the best trumpet player in the whole state? How do you judge that? How does that work? How does that money get divvied up like that? And that goes back to what I've talked about before, is how much a business college is. College athletics is a business. They'll never say it. It's all about the student athlete, even though allegedly the University of North Carolina made up a class which its players never actually attended, but, who knows about that? NCAA certainly doesn't, because they, have no proof, right? So there's a huge problem with the lack of funding for fine arts in college compared to the funding that is given out to athletes. And I will say this, the football athletes get the most full rides, obviously, and then the next comes basketball. Some of the Olympic sports, though, again, really talented kids, they don't get hardly any full ride scholarships. So there's a disparity in that as well. People are like, well, that's because football makes the most money and basketball gets the most money. Well, is that really where scholarship money should come from? That's the problem I have. How about this? How about those jumbotrons that are in every Division I college football stadium? All the ridiculous advertising that we as fans have to sit through? How about we take some of that money and get more scholarship money to the marching band? There's an idea. Or other artists in the school, kids that are in the choir, young actors and actresses, people that are in the orchestra trying to get their careers in the music field, not trying to be drafted in the NFL. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. But it's kind of ridiculous. And I shouldn't be surprised that college is like this because it starts in high school. Yeah. High school athletics has way more money than the fine arts. And just about every high school I have known of. And it's nuts. Now, there are some rare occasions where the school has a lot of money and they put it into everything. But generally, the football team and the boosters, they throw more money at a football team than the band will see in 5 years. The football team will get in 1 year. It's a joke. If you've ever been to Texas and you see some of these high school stadiums, they rival some college facilities. It's sick. It's ridiculous. It's high school football, okay? We're talking 16 and 17-year-old kids playing a game, and insane amount of money is being spent on facilities and weight rooms and uniforms. It's kind of a joke. And then you find you've got your fine arts kids who need to take a bus to, let's say, a concert performance 3 hours away, and they're riding a Yellow Dog bus. Football team, varsity, they're riding charter buses everywhere they go. They got more money. That's messed up. So as a society, though, it is strange how we do, for whatever reason, value the athletics more than the fine arts. And it's weird because when you look at it, how many of these kids that are playing athletics that get these full ride scholarships are actually going to be professional athletes? It's a small amount. So you're telling me that you just let this kid come to college for free so he could play on the field and help you win a few more games and score a few more touchdowns so more people will fill the stadium and you as a university make more money, correct? Yeah, interesting. But nobody comes to watch the band, right? Nobody watches the halftime shows or cares about that, right? Or what keeps the game moving when there's dead time in the game, and what keeps the morale of the whole stadium going when your team's getting their butt kicked by 3 touchdowns? All right, yeah, as the band, right? Just something to think about. It is interesting to know how much money is thrown at athletics at all levels. Hopefully, at some time in the future, that'll level out a little bit more. Because not just my daughter, but I live in a community where there's lots of musicians, lots of singers, lots of artists, and there's a lot of talent. And for years, the talent it's not been equal as far as payment, scholarship opportunities, and it's sad. It really is. But, just my opinion. As something I really wanted to get off my chest for a while, and thought I'd share it with you. Moving on to our last topic. And this has to do with professional athletes being morons. It's been happening pretty much forever. And nowadays with social media and TMZ and the news now, where we know just about everything that happens to anyone at any moment, it's pretty bad to be a professional athlete and to be an idiot at the same time, because whatever you do, everyone knows about it. And then you got to answer to it. The real problem I have is that NFL teams, NBA teams, they continue to give their athletes second chances, third chances, fourth chances. How many times does someone have to prove to you that they're a terrible human being before you realize, hey, maybe we shouldn't pay this person anymore? I don't care how many three-pointers he can make. I don't care how fast he is. He's not a good person. And maybe he's bad for the chemistry in our locker room. It's mind-boggling to me. Obviously Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. Why in the world was he drafted in the first place? He punched his pregnant girlfriend in the stomach in college. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. And I can't say what I'm really feeling about that without getting in trouble by someone who ever monitors the internet, which is who knows who. That's, just to me, that's mind-boggling. He clearly has some issues, some big-time character flaws, and that's not something you can just be like, he'll get better. Let's draft him. He's super fast. He'll help us win games. Did he help him win games last year? Sure. Is he a terrible person? Yeah, I think he is. He's proven that. He's not going to be on the Chiefs anymore. But you know what? With the NFL, someone like the Cleveland Browns might pick him up. Weird. Another Chiefs player, Kareem Hunt. No big deal. He assaulted a woman. No big deal. It's only on video. Looked pretty bad. Chiefs let him go, which was the right thing to do. Browns signed him. He'll serve his little suspension, then he'll be right back in the NFL. Wow, NFL, you're sending a wonderful message to the rest of your multimillionaires in the league. You can do just about anything. You can almost kill someone and still get to play in the league. That's fun, isn't it? Remember Adam Pac-Man Jones? Yeah. You know how many times that guy was arrested? Multiple. A lot. We're talking about 5 to 7 times he was arrested. Also allegedly connected to a shooting in a nightclub. That sounds familiar. After all that, Cincinnati gave him a 3-year deal. Why? He's trouble. Is there no one out there with the same skill set that is a better character that you could put on your team than Pac-Man Jones? I don't understand. NBA player Lance Stevenson allegedly threw his pregnant girlfriend down a flight of stairs. Man, nothing says character like that. Whew, I want that guy on my team. Yeah, good work, guy. Really, really. I mean, I'm sure she didn't get hurt at all being thrown down a flight of stairs, and I'm sure the unborn baby was perfectly fine. Allegedly, of course. It just makes me kind of sick to my stomach to think that not just the NFL, but the NBA, even MLB, and other sporting leagues across the world, the way that they punish their athletes sometimes is an absolute joke. The lack of repercussions is laughable. It really is. And again, I'm okay with second chances because that's kind of what life's all about. But when you've screwed up so many times that your name is become a name that the whole world recognizes based on stupid stuff you've done, you shouldn't be in the league anymore. You should not be getting paid to play a game anymore if you can't conduct yourself as a normal, respectful human being. That's my take on that. My WTF. My favorite part of the show. People, when you are out in public, why? Why do you feel the need to talk to someone you know on speakerphone? I mean, really, When you're walking through Best Buy, I'm trying to find something at Best Buy. You're 2 feet away from me and talking to your friend about God knows what on speakerphone. And you're using super colorful language. Your friend is as well because they're not in a public location, which makes sense. I don't get it. Just put the device to your ear and talk to it. It's a phone. That's what it's for. So to people who use the phones, the speakerphones in public, what the f***? That's it. Shameless plug of the show. Shameless plug of the show. Left Hand Brewing's Milk Stout. If you haven't had one, you should because they're delicious. That's all I got. I will see you guys next time on the Cup of Joe Sports Show. I'll see you later. Goodbye.